For Complex News, I'm Ottoman Welch. On February 3rd, 21 Savage was arrested and detained in Atlanta, Georgia by Immigration's Customs Enforcement after being accused of overstaying his visa. Now, ICE reported that the rapper, born Shea bin Abraham Joseph, was actually from the United Kingdom and came to America with his family as a minor, and that he was arrested as part of a targeted operation. 21 Savage legally entered the United States when he was 7 years old. Now that's according to a statement from his team. However, his visa expired in July of 2006, and Savage's lawyers confirmed ICE's claims that his family overstayed their work visas were true, but noted that 21 Savage was left, quote, without legal status through no fault of his own. After 9 days in custody, 21 was released on bond, but the story as it stands is one of the most bizarre chapters in hip-hop history and unified the more progressive wings of the music community. In the process of this ongoing case, ICE has also inadvertently elevated itself beyond the cable news talking heads, engaging in what can only charitably be described as character assassination in the hours following 21's arrest. What they've actually done is make the case for their complete and total need to abolish themselves. Now, following news of his release on bond, 21's law firm, Cuck Baxter Immigration LLC, released a statement saying, quote, "In the last 24 hours, in the wake of the Grammy Awards, in which he was scheduled to attend and perform, we received notice that Shea was granted an expedited hearing. Today, 21 Savage was granted a release on bond. He won his freedom. He says that while he wasn't present at the Grammy Awards, he was there in spirit and is grateful for the support from around the world and is more than ever ready to be with his loved ones and continue making music that brings people together." Now, the entire arrest and following incarceration is uniquely bizarre given the length of 21 Savage detainment and the delay in granting bond. The Guardian's Rashad Robinson and Jose Antonio Vargas unpack the ordeal. Quote, "Holding bin Abraham Joseph prisoner indefinitely for a visa violation doesn't make sense. He does not pose a flight risk or a threat to the community." Now, remember earlier when I mentioned character assassination? An ICE spokesperson told CNN after 21 Savage arrest that his public persona is false because he had come to the US as a teen and overstayed his visa. That kind of a statement from a government agency attacking an artist's public persona is bonkers. 21 spent his formative years in Atlanta, had become a part of the community. Him being born in the UK has nothing to do with what he raps about because he had spent most of his life in Atlanta. And as a birth certificate reported by Reuters revealed, 21 Savage was born in the borough of Lambeth in South London in 1992. His lawyers also state that the United States government had been aware of 21 Savage's legal status as early as 2017 because the artist had applied for a U visa in 2017, which is given to victims of crimes committed in the United States. Now, back in 2013, 21 Savage was shot 6 times and had been detained at Irwin County Detention Center in Ocilla, Georgia, which Azed Shahsahani, former National Security and Immigrations Rights Project Director for the ACLU of Georgia, called, quote, "a horrendous place and one of the worst immigration detention centers in the United States." That's from an interview he did with the Rolling Stone. Now, in that same interview, Shahsahani also revealed details of the conditions 21 Savage likely endured in a facility where sexual abuse, solitary confinement, and lack of medical care were the order of the day. Irwin is a 1,200 capacity facility located about 3 hours from Atlanta and has a brutal history. Guards are quick to toss detainees into solitary confinement, and officials ignore reports of sexual abuse, according to reports from detainees and their attorneys. It is a horrendous place and one of the worst immigration detention centers in the US. Now, in spite of all of this, 21 rose above the circumstances he found himself in and flourished in Atlanta. And when the man became one of the most accomplished stars in hip-hop, riding for his adopted city every chance he got, and selling millions of albums in the process, he decided to reinvest in Atlanta. Now, his charity, the 21 Savage Bank Account Campaign, was going to teach financial literacy to underserved communities in Atlanta, a move some of the more conspiratorial leaning among us first put him on the federal government's radar. But it was when 21 took the stage on The Tonight Show to perform his J. Cole collab A Lot and peppered in a few new lyrics that the MC believes he put a target firmly on his back.
Been through some things, but I couldn't imagine my kids stuck at the border. Flint still need water. People was innocent, couldn't get lawyers.
Less than a week later, he was arrested and accused of being an unlawfully present United Kingdom national. Now, that arrest has also unified hip-hop in its full-blown support of the MC. Alex Toomey, a mix engineer who has worked with many Atlanta rappers, fired off a series of tweets asking fans to think critically about the agency that had just put 21 behind bars. ICE has got thousands of kids separated from their parents forever and y'all quiet, but you all want to make the lowest hanging fruit jokes for this. Less than 24 hours ago, they admitted they had no way to connect thousands of immigrant children with their parents ever. Refocus. ICE arresting celebrities to divert attention from the fact they just admitted they can't reconnect kids with their parents, and y'all eating it up. Yikes. And that was just the start. Hip-hop came out in force to support 21. Meek Mill, Lil Yachty, and Vince Staples all came out to support 21's release. Longtime collaborator Metro Boomin took the stage on The Tonight Show alongside Gunna to call for 21's release. Killer Mike said, quote, 21 Savage's deportation is shameful on our nation. The kid has been in America so long, he literally walks, acts, is the father of an American. Schoolboy Q defended 21 from peers and trolls looking to slander the MC. And Tory Lanez most recently dropped his 21 Savage freestyle over the A Lot beat to show his support. Most significantly, Jay-Z and Roc Nation threw their resources behind 21's legal battle. In an official statement, Jay-Z said, quote, the arrest and detention of 21 Savage is an absolute travesty. His U visa petition has been pending for 4 years. In addition to being a successful recording artist, 21 deserves to be reunited with his children immediately. Free 21 Savage. Now, New York attorney Alex Spiro, who has represented Jay-Z, Bobby Shmurda, Mick Jagger, and DeMarcus Cousins, spoke to Complex about the case just as 21 was released on bond and reunited with his family in Atlanta. This is a miscarriage of justice. The reality is these things happen all the time. It's only when there is a person of prominence or whom the public takes an interest in that the light is shined on these issues. We hope once he is released that we don't all forget about this and we continue to monitor and think about the people who don't have the same resources he has. Which brings us to the overwhelming conclusion that ICE should be at best abolished or at worst completely rethought. Now keep in mind, ICE isn't some long-standing government agency with the weight of legacy. They're part of the post-9/11 security apparatus born out of the Department of Homeland Security and formed as part of the Homeland Security Act of 2002. ICE raids have torn through communities with regularity. Arrests of parents recorded on their children's cell phone cameras, stakeouts out of hospitals, schools, and churches have all become part of labeling the agency by some as a terrorist organization. ICE harms tens of thousands of people with no criminal record whom ICE has deported back to countries where their lives are at risk. In 2003, the Department of Homeland Security, set up to stop terrorists, replaced the Immigration and Naturalization Service, which performed many functions relating to immigration, as part of the Justice Department. The enforcement arm of DHS's ICE's primary mission is to target those who have made it past the border and are living here, and in many cases for years. So if that wasn't enough to convince you that ICE has become every white nationalist's favorite government agency, what with the death of 2 Guatemalan children who died while in U.S. custody last year, and the 15,000 plus children still in ICE custody, the case to completely dismantle ICE is a moral one. So if it took 21's arrest to key you into the fact that ICE is running a literal network of child prisons in the United States, or it was Jay-Z and Roc Nation throwing their support behind 21's cause for you to realize that people are being deported en masse in the name of national security, then good. You should know what's being done in your name as an American citizen. Let us know what you think. That's all for now. For everything else, subscribe to Complex on YouTube. For Complex News, I'm Hanuman Welch.